guys, how are you? Welcome to our today's lesson, which is on project guidelines, chapter 3 on system analysis. I'm Patricia. Karibu. 3.0 system analysis. So in this 3.0 you just introduce the system analysis chapter, which is on examining the current system to know whether the better procedures and methods that are going to be used, they are intending to improve the existing system. You can also say it's the process of gathering, interpreting facts, diagnosing problems, and using the information to recommend improvement on the existing system. 3.1 Objectives of system analysis. So this one, you just state the objectives of system analysis. One, which is to understand the system development process as one of the stages of the system life cycle, to take requirements of the system design and formulate a problem statement, to learn that a flowchart is a formal way to describe a problem or to give a solution, to define an algorithm as a flowchart. You know very well you can just change an algorithm and already present an algorithm by use of a flowchart. And lastly, to understand that a code is translated from a flowchart. In fact, you have to draw the flowchart. Then from the flowchart, you can have a code, you can have an algorithm. All these are related. So all this is found in system analysis. And we can look at 3.2, which is on system boundaries. In this, you know very well a system is defined by its boundaries, and boundaries are the limits that identify its components, processes, and interrelationships, which are when you use it, you interface with when the other system meets this system, then they are able to know their limits in form of boundaries. It determines a sphere of influence and control. Then it mentions what will be developed to determine its sphere. 3.3 is on constraints of the system. We have 3 constraints. You have time constraints, budget, and scales constraints. So we are going to check each of them. We begin with time. So in this, talk about how to manage the project in a way that it meets the set deadlines of the time and the allocated resources effectively. So if the time was like you have to take 2 months or 3 months, you make sure is the set time that you have taken. So that is on time. Budget constraints. It refers to handling the project to stay within a given allocation of a certain amount. So this includes not only the materials that you buy, but also the labor and also the cost of the project itself. So you have to stay within that set budget. Skills constraints. So when you are designing a system, you have to check on the skills that will be involved, the skills that you will have to use. So the skills, the amount of money, and the time, they are the ones that will now determine the cost of that system. So if you costed that system depending on certain or specified skills, then it means if you go ahead of those skills, then that system will have to change the budget, and then it will be maybe expensive. So you have to stay and handle that system and stay within that specified skills. 3.4 is on feasibility study, and this is the assessment of the existing system, and this is done to uncover the strength and weaknesses of the existing system. So you'll have to know how strong or how good the existing system is, and in this, after you also assess the system by use of this feasibility study, you'll also be able to know its weaknesses, where it's not performing. So with all this, you are able now to come up with a better system. So all this is done on technical part. You have to check on the technical part. You have to check on the operation of the existing system. You have to check on the legality of that system, and economically, how is that system. And all those four that I've mentioned, they are also called the types of feasibility study. So we are going to discuss each one of them. We begin with 3.4.1, which is on technical feasibility study. In this, explain how the system analyst conducted the study to determine the requirements of the system. So you have to check on the requirements of the system. Then you'll have able to check on the relevant resources required that are also essential for the new system. Therefore, in your mind, you have to know the existing system was not working, and now the new changes have to be done. So for the better system and a faster way or faster system to be developed, you have to know the technicality of the existing system. In that way, the resources, the essential resources required, and also determine the requirements of the system. So that is on technical feasibility study. 3.4.2 operational feasibility study. This measures how well the system solves problems of existing system. It also determines how the requirements identified in the system analyst will be satisfied. It ascertains how well the implementation of the system will fit in the current organizational business operations. So you have to check the following: whether the users are accepting or adapting to the new system. You have also to check on whether the organization is satisfied with the alternative solutions that you are giving to them by use of the new system. You have to check on the problems, how they will be solved by the system that you are developing. So that is on the operational part of the system, and this is done well when you perform the operational feasibility study. 3.4.3 is on economic feasibility study. So this is conducted to check if the system is cost effective. So you have to check on the costs involved in developing the full software, investigation, the cost incurred to develop the software to produce a long-term gain, the cost of buying the hardware required, like we'll have to buy some physical components, the cost of buying the software that will be used in development. You have to check on that. Then also you have to check on the payments that you are paying the experts in MIS team, and also the cost of training. So all this is done in economic feasibility study. So you have to check on those, and then you write whether the system that you are developing is economically viable. 3.4.4 is on legal feasibility study. And this is conducted to determine, one, whether the system is conflicting with the legal requirements. You have also to check on observing. It also involves observing the rules and regulations of a given environment, having to put in your mind its consideration. Then 3, the system has also to be legally abiding to the laws of the data protection regulation policy. So in this, if we collect data of individuals, you'll have to make it private and confidential. So that is on legal feasibility study. Then 3.5, cost benefit analysis. This is the process used to measure the benefits of the decision that you are taking or the actions that you are taking minus the cost associated with taking the action. So this includes intangible benefits, the end costs, or the effects from a decision such as employees' morale and customer satisfaction. So in this, you have to check on 3 items. 1, you check on whether you buy the system. You have to analyze and determine whether you'll buy the system. So analyze to know when the organization buys the system, if it is cost effective. Then 2 is developing the system. Analyze to know when the organization develops the system, is it cost effective? 3, modification of the system. You already have the existing system. If it is modified or if the modification is done to meet the user requirements, is it cost effectiveness or is it cost effective? So you have to check on those 3. You have to determine for the organization whether to buy the system or to look for somebody to develop the system for the organization, or to just modify the existing system. So you have to check on that. Then we have 3.6 is on context flowchart, and in this I've given an example of a system by the name cloth ordering system. So we have the customer making some orders to the cloth ordering system. So after making the orders are sent to the cloth store to determine the cloth that the customer is ordering is available. So if the cloth is available, then the sales manager receives the ordering or the order, then makes some report. Then these reports are sent to the cloth supplier, who supplies the cloth to the customer upon the payments. Now you have to receive the payment from the sales manager, then he makes the receipt, then the receipt is sent to the customer, and then the cloth that he was ordering, it's now made available to the customer. Then 3.7 is on DFD chart or data flow diagram. Again, I've used the same example, cloth ordering system. We begin with the customer ordering the cloth from the system. Then the inventory details are sent to the inventory, and they generate a report which is done by the sales manager. Then upon the sales manager receiving the report or generating the report, then he sends the inventory order to the supplier of the clothes. Then the supplier will also have to make the cloth available, and it is sent to the customer together with the bill. The bill is sent first, the customer pays, then the cloth is sent to the customer. So you have to make sure that your data flow diagrams are flowing, or they are following what your system is doing. So make sure your DFD chart is explaining what your system is actually doing. Use the correct diagrams. If it's an order, it has a different diagram. We have a process. We also have a flow, that is the line flow, which is using the arrows. And we have generation, or a process. A process, you can see it is using a circle or oval. So make sure you use the correct diagrams for the system, for the chart. If it is a store, if it is a client or a person, it is using a rectangle. So make sure you use the correct diagrams when you are drawing the flow chart. So that marks the end of our lesson today. Thank you so much for listening. Hope it has helped you a lot, and I wish you a good night.